Come do a fishing video.
You were in there the first year?
Is that the one so we thought?
Outside the park.
Well, they didn't have those kind back then.
Right.
One guy had been threatening with a shotgun.
Oh my goodness.
Get off that property. Another one had...
And he'd say that somebody broke when he stepped in and slipped, and he got there. I know I was. That's a good reason to stop there. Thank you.
Did you take this one?
Yeah, I'll take and she's Sawyer.
That's where they signed.
Sawyer. I'll go to cheese. Why is the Atlantic Coast colder?
They didn't have these back then.
Go down.
A lot. And it's usually up and down and forth.
It was like a school mom.
Okay.
And so he sent me all this information on minute approvals and where to go to get them.
We are struggling with
Okay, the next one in the middle.
You've been watching the 100-year anniversary celebrating the last day of class in 1918 of the B.B. Hill School. There's Felix.
Felix? Come here, Felix. Felix! Come on. Come here. You say hi? A little less of a pest now.
Yeah, good. So, tell me about ranching.
Okay. Well, the beef cattle and the goats seem to be the perfect fit for what we started with, which was beekeeping here. And having permanent pasture with managed intensive grazing, so that we're grazing the animals over the whole pasture, but never having to till anything up. But we're doing long rest period between when the animals are on that pasture. So, like you just saw me move the cattle. They moved into 1/8 of an acre. We set up that little paddock with poly wire, and it will be at least 35 to 40 days before they'll go back to that paddock again. So our whole system's all predicated on rest period for the pasture. So it's great for the animals' health, because the animals are not grazing back over the manure. They have less fly problems because of that, and that constant movement is encouraging them to get a mouthful every time we move them. They immediately want to eat a mouthful of grass. So it keeps the rumens full and keeps them always eating. But it's most of all, it's best for the grass. Having that recovery period really lets the grass fully recover. So this year we're having a real dry year, and that type of grazing really allows us to regraze paddocks that otherwise probably wouldn't grow back in this drought year. So it helps a lot in that sense. Yeah, we raise 2 different breeds of cattle. We raise Irish Dexter cattle, which was the black horned ones you saw, or the black animals that have long horns. And that's an older breed that is smaller. They're small-framed cows, but they're pretty efficient on grass, so they do well on an all grass-fed diet. And they've been rated highest for flavor by chefs for a number of years. So we started raising them more for our wholesale chef customers. And then we raise Red Devons because I really like that breed. They have a really nice disposition. They're really gentle animals, and they do really well on grass. The lines of Red Devons that we've been getting are really good mamas, and they've been just the easiest cattle to handle that I've dealt with so far, and as I'm learning along with them. For me, being an all grass-fed farm, the main thing is how to manage pasture, and what fencing systems work best, what systems of making sure, because our whole system's based on constant rotation. What are the best systems to get water to the cattle, or always have mineral available for the cattle, because you're moving them so often. We're sort of developing our systems and getting better at it every year.
You have to take water out there to them.
Yeah, well, we've set up overground irrigation lines, so we just put our water troughs on a float for most of the paddocks the cattle are in, so that we can hook them right up to our well, and they can always have continuous water.
And the goats? What can you tell me about the goats? You
Yeah.
raise them for
meat.
Uh-huh.
Our goats are they're the perfect mix with the cattle because they don't, they're browsers. They'll eat all the brush, and as you know, in this area we have plenty of brush in the form of multiflora rose or bittersweet vines or poison ivy and things like that. They really thrive on, and those are things the cattle don't eat. So they have a nice symbiosis. We run them along the fence lines, or we're having them clear some of the hedgerows so that we can build fences there. We run them through the ditches that are full of willows, and they girdle some of the mid-sized willows and sort of thin it out so that grass can grow underneath. The more they thin out the browse and the brush, the more grass we can grow for the cattle. So I think they're the perfect mix. I think grass-fed or browse-fed goat is one of the most sustainable red meats you can find out there. It's super lean, and I don't know, they're a joy to raise. I really love raising them. These are Boer Kiko goats, so they're more of meat breeds. We have a couple dairy does that we milk for our own consumption, but most of our goats are a meat breed.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Art.